Okay, good to welcome everyone and welcome. As we are sponsored by AB Spry, the Refuah Shalema for Torah Reisa Bas Hinda, and for great zivugim for their daughter and grandchildren. We're sponsored by Shali Zeitlin for the schus of his children, and that is the schus of his children. The schus of his children, Eli, Orit, and Ora, and for Refuah Shalema for Shimon ben Sarah Miriam, and for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel. We also are sponsored for the emotional, physical, and spiritual protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel ben Beila Shendel Rivka. We are holding on this wonderful Matzah Shabbos. We are holding at the bottom line of Daf Mem Beis Amud Beis. Bottom line of Daf Mem Beis Amud Beis. Every minute more people are coming in here, and we welcome in Saba, Rabbi Kranz, Ben Zion Cohn, Mo Kushner, Irving Fishbaum, Mel Zachter, Reb Kaniel, Yitz Fuchs, Nachman Chapler, Mark Frankel. Good to see you, Mark. And we welcome in Dr. Black. We welcome in Barry Cement and Dr. Guy, Naftali Jablin, Yaakov Warman, Moshe Lehman, Stephen Holtzman, Ilya Schutman, Richard Rosenzweig. We welcome in, joining us now, Richard Rosenzweig, Chaim Braun, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Abe Arbach, David Helfgott, A.B. Spry. We have here in the shul Berish Gasserman and Reb Halpert holding the fort over here. And we are sponsored specially tonight by Irving Fishbaum. It's good to see you, Irving. And we are going to learn for Irving's mother on her yahrzeit, Razel Bas Reb Yaakov. On Neshama should have an aliyah. She should be a Melitza Yeshara for her family, for all of us, and all of Klal Yisrael. Okay, so the Mishnah says that Shomer Chinam Eino Nishba, that a Shomer Chinam doesn't swear that he wasn't negligent with Karka or about Avodim or about Hekdesh, nor does he swear about Avodim, nor does he swear about Shtoros, about notes. Menani Mili, how do we know this? The Tanur Rabbanan, top of Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, and the Olam should be careful to mute themselves. The Tanur Rabbanan, Ki yitain ish el re'eyu, a man gives to his friend klal. That's a generalization. Kesav or kalim, silver or utensils, prat, that's a specification. Lishmar, to guard. Chazav klal, that's a generalization. Now that follows the rule. Klal prat, klal, generalization, specification, generalization. Iyatu don elikeina prat. We only include things that are similar to the specifications. Now, ma prat, the specification of kesav and kelim mafurish davar hamatalta leguvay baman. It's something that's movable and is of intrinsic value. Af kol davar hamatalta legufa maman. A shayma will have to swear, a shaymachidim will have to swear about something that's movable and has intrinsic value. Yotzu karkois, that excludes real estate. Sheina metalton, which is not movable. Yotzu avodim, it excludes slaves because shukshul karkois, they are juxtaposed to karka. Yotzu shtaros, it excludes notes. Shafal pisha metalton, even though they're movable, ain't gufan mammon, they're not intrinsically of value. They only represent an outer value, which is not similar to kesef or kalim. Hekdesh, and they don't swear about Hekdesh because it says ki tenel re'eyu ksiv, which excludes the Hekdesh, the temple. What? This pasuk is talking about Shomer Chinam. The Shomer in this pasuk is Shomer Chinam. The next pasuk will be Shomer Sacher. Noisei Sacher ain't a mishalim. A Shomer Sacher doesn't pay if it was stolen or lost. How do we know? Minalan. Now this pasuk, as I just told Tiberish, is talking about a paid watchman. The Tan Rabban ki yiten ish el re'ehu klal. There are different parashas in the Torah that refer to different things. This refers to a shomer sacha. Ki yiten ish el re'ehu klal. That's a generalization. Chamor oishar oiseh, a donkey, an ox or a sheep, prat. V'chol behema, or any animal. That's again a more of a generalization. Lishmar cause of a klal, a product klal, and we only include like the specification. All of the specifications are davar hamataltal the gufay mammon, which excludes karka, which is not metaltal. It excludes avodim that are hukish l'karkais, and it excludes shtaris that are not gufay mammon. And it also excludes hektish because re'ehu ksiv. It says re'ehu. The Gemara just short circuits the whole discussion as we welcome in Michal Avram Chavin, who is joining us. Michal Avram, we are holding on Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph 43a, 12 lines from the top. Rameir says Yesh Dvarim Shein Kekarka ve'enon Kekarka. There are things that are like real estate, but they're not real estate. Now, in the Havamim, the Gemara thinks that Rameir is talking about something that's attached to the ground, like a branch. Michlal de Rameir Savar Kolam Mechubel Karka Eina Kekarka. He holds that anything attached to the ground is not like the ground. So, Adamiflagi to Unais, why does he argue only about branches that have grapes on it? Liflage Bisrukais, even barren branches. That if I say Barish owes me 10 barren branches and he says 5, that he would have to swear because he holds that even though it's attached to the ground, it's not like the ground. Says no. Alam Rabbi Yossi Reb Chanina, no. What it is attached to the ground is like the ground. But here, here we're talking about grapes that are fully ripened and ready to be harvested. The Rameir Savar kibitzuris dami, that kol ha'omer livtzar, anything that's ready to be vintaged is as if it's already detached. V'Rabbanan Savrei lav kibitzuris dami, and as long as they're still attached to the ground, they have a din of karka, and on karka we don't swear. Now, the Mishnah then tells us, Ein nishban el al davar shebemida v'shebemishkol v'shebeminyan. We only swear on something that is either measured, weighed, or counted. Now, the Mishnah says that if I say a houseful, you owe me a houseful, and he says only up to here in the house, you don't have to swear because that's not specific enough. If I just say a houseful without saying which house. But if I say this houseful, Yediyah Tanase, that is a definitive amount. And Berish then, if he says no, half the house, he would have to swear. Amalei Rava says that can't be. Because Ihachi Aditoni Seifa. When the Seifa says Zeh Omer Adaziz, if I say up to the ceiling beam, V'zeh Omer Adachalain, and he says up to the window, Chayiv, Liflag v'listei b'didei. The Mishnah should have made a distinction in the case of whether bayis stam or bayis zeh. That he doesn't swear, but bayis molei, where I just said a houseful, aval bayis zeh molei, but this houseful chayiv. Alam Rava, a house full is not definitive enough, because full could mean, ruba kikula could mean almost full. It has to be more precise than mole. It has to be measured, weighed, or counted. Says the Gemara, and now till the ceiling beam and till the window, that's precise enough. Tanya Kavase to Rava. We have a raya to Rava. I say to Berish, he owes me a kur of grain. A kur is 30 sa. And Berish says, I don't have anything. Potter. Of course, then he doesn't swear because he wasn't made to be mixes. He denies the whole thing. Menorah gedola yesh li biyadcha. You owe me a big candelabra. You owe me a big candelabra. And he says, no, ein loch biyadi ala menorah ketana. I only owe you a small candelabra. Again, potter. Why? Because that's tanu b'chitim v'haydolai b'sarim. I made a claim of one thing and he admitted to something else. A big candelabra and a small candelabra are two different things. Azura gedayla yesh li biyadcha. I have a big belt. And he says, ein loch biyadi ala azura ketana, a small belt. Again, that's two different things. Potter. If I say you owe me a kur of tfuah, 30 soft of tfuah, I only owe you 15 kur. Oh, so that's a clear case of moide b'mixas. Chayiv. Menorah bas eser litrin. If I claim that he owes me a candelabra of 10 liter of gold or 10 liter of silver, and he says yeshli b'yadcha, and he says ein lach b'yadi ala bas chamesh litrin, only a menorah of 5 liter chayiv. Now the Gemara is going to ask, why is that different than when I say a big candelabra and he says a small candelabra? Here, if I say one of 10 liter and he says one of 5 liter, isn't that also two separate things? The Gemara is going to ask that. But klaloi shel davar, the general principle is, la'olam einoi chayiv, berish is not chayiv, atshi anenu b'davar shebemida v'shebemishkel v'shebeminyan, until I claim something that's measured, weighed, and numbered. And he admits to something measured, weighed, or numbered. Now, what's that coming to include? Says the Gemara, it's coming to include it's coming to include that if he says just a full house, if I say just a full house, and he says no, not a full house, that's not a davar shebeminyan v'shebemishkel shebeminyan shebemida shebeminyan and shebemishkel, and he is potter. So that's a raya to Rav. But now the Gemara asks, what's the difference if I said you owe me a big candelabra and he says a small candelabra, that he's potter? Because he's not admitting to the same thing. But if I say a candelabra of 10 liter of silver and he says a candelabra of 5 liter of silver, then he's chayiv. What's the difference that if I said a big candelabra and he says a small candelabra, he's potter because mashetanu loy hoydolay, what I claimed he didn't admit to, or mashe hoydolay, and we admitted to loy tanu, it's a different species. Ihachi bas eser bas chamesh nami. And if I said a candelabra of 10 liter and he says a candelabra of 5 liter, that's essentially a big one and a small one. Mashetanu loy hoydolay, mashe hoydolay loy tanu. Amar Rab Shmuel bar Yehuda, Amar Rab Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak. No, it's talking about a menorah made of joints. And therefore, if it's 10 liter, then that means it has a lot of joints. If it's 5 liter, it's smaller, but it's the same thing, just less pieces. It's a menorah made out of pieces. The kamoidale mina, because he's admitting to me the same type, except that it has less pieces. Says the Gemara, then there should be such a similar thing by a belt. You know, it could be a belt with more pieces or less pieces. Let's say that it's talking about a belt with bigger pieces and smaller pieces, and then a big belt and a small belt would also be meminataina. Okay, we have 32 Zoomers now. That's nice. The attendance this week was a little bit weak. I mean, Mark, I'm not just talking to you, Mark. I mean, why would I mention Mark? We're missing a lot of people. By the way, we got to get on the phone and call Ruvain Pollack. Ruvain Pollack. We're missing Ruvain Pollack. Irving, what do you do with Ruvain Pollack?
He's not coming because it's late also. He says it's too late.
No, you guys, you got to drink a coffee. We're missing you guys too much.
Don't forget he goes to the secret meeting.
Says the Gemara, Ella delaife loikatani. We're not talking about a belt with parts. Hachanami b'shel chulias loikatani. Then we can't be talking about a menorah with parts. Ella Amar Rav Abba bar Mamel Shani menorah. You see, a menorah that's 10 liter and a menorah that's 5 liter is the same type of menorah, just it's thinned down. They scraped off the silver, and instead of having 10 liter, it's the same size, it's just thinner. It could be scraped, and from 10 could be 5. By a belt, it's not the same, because a belt is finished off, and therefore it can't be trimmed down. But a menorah could be trimmed down, so it's the same thing. Just I say that Barish owes me a menorah of 10 liter, and Barish says, no, it was trimmed down, it was scraped, and it's only now 5 liter of silver. So he has to swear. Okay, as we begin 8 lines from the bottom of Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, just getting underway, very hard Masechta, which by the way, we're coming down to the finish line, and we are looking for sponsors for Masechtas Avodah Zarah, a very big sponsorship opportunity now that'll take us into the summer. Masechtas Avodah Zarah, I think it'll take us through most of the summer, and if anybody wants to sponsor Masechtas Avodah Zarah, please let me know. We're looking for several sponsors for Masechtas Avodah Zarah. Now, Hamalve es chaveiroi al hamashkin. Here, I give a loan to, I give a loan to Mark. So I give Mark a loan of $1,000, and he gives me a menorah as a mashkin, as collateral. So Hamalve es chaveiroi al mashkin, and I lose the menorah. Oh boy. I lose the Ovid Amashkin. So, Amaloi, so I say to Mark, Selahil v'sichalav, I gave you a loan of a seller, v'shekel yeshav, and the menorah was worth a shekel. So I lost your menorah, which was worth a shekel. There's 2 shekel in the seller. So I lost your menorah, which is worth a shekel, so give me another shekel. And Mark says, no, Rabbi Weiss, not so. You gave me a seller, and the menorah was only worth a seller. So I don't owe you anything. So there, since he's owing me anything, so he doesn't have to swear. He's not made to b'mikzas, so he's potter. However, if I say to him, Seller, he'll be sichalav. Mark, I gave you a seller, v'shekel yeshav, and the menorah was worth a shekel. Now, in a seller, there are 4 dinner. V'alaymer, and Mark says, loiki, it's not so. El seller he'll be sunny. I love Rabbi Weiss. You gave me a seller. Ushloisha dinar na yeshav, and the menorah was worth 3 dinner. So you're right. I do owe you, but I don't owe you a shekel. I only owe you a dinner. Remember, there are 4 dinner in a seller. I gave him a loan of a seller. He gave me a menorah. I said the menorah was only worth a shekel, so he owes me a shekel, which is 2 dinner. And he says the menorah was worth 3 dinner, so he only owes me 1 dinner. So there, since he's made the b'mikzas, he admits he owes me a dinner, so Mark is chayiv to swear. Now the plot thickens. Selahil v'isani olav. Mark says, you know, Rabbi Weiss, you gave me a seller, but my menorah was worth 2 slime. Ushtayim hayashav. My menorah was worth 2 slime. So Rabbi Weiss, now that you lost my menorah, give me back a seller. And I say, not so. Mark, don't exaggerate. Like he, not so. Ela seller v'sichalav. I gave you a seller. The seller yeshav, and the menorah was worth a seller. So we're even Steven. So since I'm denying any culpability, I'm potter. I don't swear. However, if Mark says seller v'saniyalav, I gave you gave me, Rabbi Weiss, a seller, ushtayim hayashav, but the menorah was worth 2 seller. You lost my menorah, pay me up a seller. I say no. Ela seller v'sichalav. I gave you a seller. V'chamisha dinarim hayashav, and the menorah was worth 5 dinarim. So I owe you 1 dinar. I don't owe you. You say the menorah was worth 2 slime, and I owe you a seller. The menorah was worth only 5 dinarim. I owe you 1 dinar, but at least I made him a mixus. So I have to swear. Umi nishba, who swears? Misha pikodon etzloi, the one that had the deposit. You know why? Because if we make Mark swear, then I could pull out the deposit and show that he's a liar. So, who swears? The one that has the deposit. Shemi Yeshava Zeh, lest Mark will swear, and then V'yotzi Allah Esapikadon, I'll pull out the deposit and show that he's wrong, and then he's going to be puzzled Eidos. We don't want that to happen. So now right away the Gemara says, when it asks in the Mishnah, Mi Nishba, as we turn to Mem Gimel Amud Beis, who swears ahai? In which case are we talking about? Ilay Maaseh, for the last case, where Mark says, Rabbi Weiss, you gave me a seller, I gave you a menorah that was worth 2 slug. And I say, I gave you a seller, and you gave me a menorah worth only 5 dinar. So I was made of a mixus. I do owe him, but instead of owing him a seller, I only owe him 1 dinar. On that, the Gemara says, Mi nishba, what's the question? Who swears? Of course I swear. I'm the one that's being made of a mixus. So, Ilay Ma'aseifa, you don't need the reason that I swear in order that Mark shouldn't be shown alive. But typically, the Shvur Gabi Milva. I'm the one who has to swear. I'm the one that's made him a mixus. He claims the menorah was 2 slime, and I say it was only 5 dinarim. So of course I have to swear. Rather, says the Gemara, Amar Shmuel, Areisha. It's going on the Reisha. V'chein Amar Rab Chia bar Rav Areisha. V'chein Amar Rab Yochanan Areisha. What Reisha? What are you talking about? What Reisha? My Reisha, says the Gemara, Sefer the Reisha, the last case of the first part of the Mishnah. What's that? So the Gemara explains. Selahil v'sichalav. I tell Mark, I gave you a seller. V'shekel yeshav. The menorah was worth a shekel, and therefore, since there's 2 shkalim and you owe me a seller, I lost the menorah, pay me a shekel. V'allah, and Mark says, no, loiki ela selahil v'sani alav, u'shloisha dinar yeshava, and the menorah was worth 3 dinar. So I don't owe you a shekel, I only owe you 1 dinar. So over there, Mark is the moed of a mixus, so really Mark should swear. So the shvua gabi loivahi. Really, Mark is the one who should swear because he's the moed of a mixus. However, v'shaklu rabbanim malayva, they took the shvua away from Mark. V'shadyu amilva, that I should swear. Why? Because if Mark swears, and then I'll pull out the menorah. Oh, I found the menorah. However, the hashta, now that Rav Ashi says that we both have to swear. I have to swear that the menorah was lost, and he has to swear that the menorah was worth 3 dinar. V'ashta dam Rav Ashi d'kaim ulan zen nishba sheina rishusai. I swear that I lost the menorah. Zen nishba kamashava, and Mark swears that it was 3 dinar. Haki kamer mi nishba tefila. Who swears first? I swear first. Misha Pikadon Etzlai, the one who has the deposit. Shemi Yeshava Zeh, lest Mark swear. V'yotzi Allah Sapikadon, and then I'll pull out the menorah. Now we're going to start learning about the mechanics of collateral. Shmuel really says some shocking stuff here, a shocking thing. Amar Shmuel, Hai man de oisvei alpha zuzei lechavre. I give Mark 1K. 1K. 1,000 buckaroos. It's enough to sponsor Avodah Zarah. I give him 1K. What does he give me as a mashkin? Well, mishkin like kata de magla. He gives me as collateral a handle of a sickle. Boy, it's a good thing we're friends. I give him $1,000. I mean, mamish 10 crisp $100 bills straight from the bank. And what does he give me? He gives me the handle of a sickle. Says Shmuel, since I accepted the handle as collateral, Ovid kata de magla, if I lose the handle of the sickle, Ovid alfa zuze, I'm out of $1,000. That's the best. That's the best handle of a sickle that Mark ever had.
Maybe it was a very worthy sickle. It was worth an antique. It was worth
Barry, eat your pickles. It was a very cheap, worthless Bela Kinwood wooden handle. Maybe it was worth $3.99 in the hardware store down the block. But Shmuel says, I accepted it as collateral. If I lose the handle, I'm out $1,000. However, Aval tarte ketate, if he gives me 2 handles and I lose one, look, we don't say that if you give me 2 handles and I lose one, I'm out of $500. No, if he gives me 2 handles, I could reimburse him $3.99 for the missing one, give him back the other handle, and collect my $1,000. Rav Nachman says no. Rav Nachman Amar afilu tarte ketate. Even if he gives me 2 handles, Ovid chada, each handle is $500. Ovid chada, Ovid chamesh meya. If I lose one, I'm out $500. Ovid idach, if I lose the other one, Ovid kule, I'm out 1K. Aval kata v'nascha loy. But if he gave me a handle and bullion, not. Then if I lose the handle, I'm only out $3.99. Nardoyimre, no, afilu kata v'nascha, even a handle and bullion. Ovid nascha, if I lose the bullion, Ovid palga, I lose half. Ovid kata, if I lose the handle, Ovid kule. So the basic premise of Shmuel is that the collateral is instead of the loan. That if I can't collect the loan, I'll have the collateral. So if I lose the collateral, I lose the right to collect the loan. That's Shmuel's, big chiddush. So Tanan, l'chayra, it doesn't say that in the Mishnah. In the Mishnah it says, Sela hilvi sichalav. If I tell Mark, I gave you a loan of a seller, and you gave me collateral, a little menorah, one of those little wooden menorahs, v'shekel yeshava, and the menorah was worth a shekel, v'alo imer, and Mark says, loy ki ala seller hilvi sanyalav, you gave me a seller v'shloisha dinar na yeshava, and it was worth 3 dinners, so I only owe you a dinner, chayiv, Mark has to swear. But according to Shmuel, if I lost the menorah, I shouldn't be able to collect anything. Leima leha kabilte. You accepted your collateral, you lost the collateral, you're out. Mark should say, see ya, Talk to you next Masechta. Says the Gemara, well, Masnisan b'deparish. The Mishnah is talking where I said clearly, Mark, I'm only accepting the collateral according to its value. So then it's only $3.99. Shmuel b'delay parish. Shmuel is talking about where I just accepted the handle of the collateral and I didn't say anything. So now the Gemara wants to say that Shmuel is a subject of a machlokes tanaim, and we are happy to see Bruce. Bruce, you did a little bit better last week, but still it needs more improvement. But I'm happy to see. Look at this, father and son right next to each other. That's really nice. Many times we have Dr. Guy and Dr. Reuven Guy. We also have father and son. There was a time that we had a triple. We had Dr. Bruce's father also. So we had 3 generations. He should rest in heaven.
Now you have also the other brother.
Hello, how are you? Very good. Says the Gemara, let's see, Lema Ketanoi. Let's say that this novel opinion of Shmuel, that b'delay parish, when I lose the collateral, Mark doesn't have to pay me anything. Let's say that that's actually a machlokes tanoim. Let's see the case. Hamalve es chaveira ala mashkin. So I give Mark a loan, 1K, v'over mashkin, and I lose the collateral. So Rebbe Eliezer says, no sweat. Yishava, I swear, v'yital es mo'isav, and I collect my money. Divrei Rebbe Eliezer. So that's clearly not like Shmuel. Right? I swear and I collect my money. Rabbi Akiva says, no. I gave you the loan relying on the collateral of an mashkin. If you lose the mashkin, of the ma'isecha, Rabbi Weiss, you can't collect anything. However, aval hamalve elef zuz b'shtar, but if I give $1,000 with a promissory note, v'niach mashkin b'yodai, and Mark leaves a mashkin, divrei akol, everybody holds of a mashkin of a ma'isav. Where there's a shtar, if I lose the mashkin, then we're out of money. Now, obviously, says the Gemara, what's the case over here? Hechidami. Either shavashir zuzi, if I gave him 1,000 and he gave me $1,000 Rolex watch, so then if I lose the watch, then of course I can't collect any money. And then what's the reason of Rebbe Eliezer, who says that I could swear and collect my money? Either shavashir zuzeh, if it's worth $1,000, my time at the Rebbe Eliezer. And look at Mark's. He looks so sad that it's such a small daf. Sorry, Mark. But don't worry, you'll come the rest of the week and you won't be disappointed. Says the Gemara, Elalav, it must be b'delay shavashir zuzeh. It must be that the watch was at Timex worth $54. And they're arguing with Shmuel, right? That Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion that, listen, I gave you the mashkin for the loan. If you lost the Timex watch, you don't get anything. And they're arguing about Shmuel. Now, you'll say, so why when there is a shtar is it different? So Rashi says that the argument to say that the collateral was not for the fulfillment of the loan is simply that the collateral was just there lezichron dvarim ba'alma, that you should remember you owe me the money. It's just a zichron dvarim ba'alma. But if there's a shtar, you don't need a zichron dvarim ba'alma, because you have the shtar. So then, it would be that the collateral is instead of the debt. Says Yimraloi. No. And I guess here we should stop to turn over the channel, just